Hello, hello. Welcome to another Verbling class. My name is Hamish, and in this class we're going to be taking a very good look at the speaking section of the Toefl exam. If you're interested in practicing your Toefl speaking, or just interested in practicing some advanced English speaking, please click the Join Class button and join me here in the classroom, and we can get started. I look forward to seeing you. This is the third or fourth, I think the fourth of the Toefl classes I've been running here with Verbling, and we practiced some of the question 1 questions. We've also we've talked about question 2, but we're looking forward to practicing both of those questions here in this class. Shall wait for the students to join me in the classroom. Yes, indeed. One more minute. There we go. I should get my questions ready. I've got lots of sample questions to use, and we're going to be very strict with our timing today, with our 15 seconds preparation time and our 45 seconds speaking time. And very important when you're practicing your Toefl speaking to be strict and to keep it as realistic as possible, so that you get a good feel for, well, for how long 15 seconds feels like when you're practicing, because that's going to give you a much better idea of what 15 seconds of notes and 15 seconds of thinking looks like as well. So let's get my papers over here. Okay. I think still waiting for the main gates to open in our classroom. There we go. Now we can definitely begin. That's it. That's a yes. That's more like it. Okay, here we go. Well, let's start saying hello to people, and then we will start our practice. And yeah, let's focus on. So we can still look at question 1, but I also want to include question 2 here today as well. So first of all. Let me say hello to Abdullah. Abdullah, hi. Good morning. Hello. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, sir.
Excellent. And then, oh, I think I'm hearing myself. I'm hearing myself. I don't. There we go. Abdullah, if you could perhaps turn on, put your speakers on. Sorry, your headphones on, so we can't hear me 2 times, because once is enough. Once is enough for listening to me. Okay, I'm gonna mute you for a second there, but if you put on your earphones or headphones, then we can hear you more clearly. Okay, so Clemson Cardoso, how are you today?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. And where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil. Oh, excellent. Okay, and tell me, how's and how's the weather in Brazil, Clemson?
Today is very sunny. Actually, the sun is in my room, because the windows is passing the room.
It's very bright. I like that. I think that's
Yes.
that's fantastic. And I wish I could do that today, but it's 7 a.m. Here in Tennessee, and the rain is it's coming down very hard. So it looks really sad and dark in my room, which I'm hoping it'll brighten up in a few minutes. Really good to meet you, Clemson. Thank you so much. Ahmad, hi, hello again. How are you?
Nice, I'm fine, thank you. Just I want to ask people to mute themselves, because I heard a lot of noise in the background.
Yeah, well, I hope I've
Okay.
yes, I'm hearing it's better for me now.
Okay, now it's better, yeah.
Yeah, there was some, yeah.
I'm Imad, I'm from Syria.
Okay.
This is my second class with you.
That's right, yes.
and I'm very thankful for TOEFL idea speaking because I'm I'm thinking about applying for a TOEFL test. It's very good for me.
Excellent. And why do you want to take the TOEFL? What do you want to do?
Actually, I'm thinking about completing my master degree abroad, but I'm feeling that they ask about TOEFL score, which is very high, 100. For me, it's very high,
Okay.
and it's very hard to practice speaking the way they were required to be, because I'm not a native speaker, natural. I don't have too many people to practice with in English. This is my problem.
Absolutely, and that's a very real problem and a big problem for a lot of people who want to take the TOEFL exam, and I think services like Verbling offer a real advantage for people who want to practice their English with a native speaker, and to get that kind of speaking practice ahead of the TOEFL exam, because we know if you want to practice your reading or your listening, and in some cases even your writing, you can get a lot of those things really just for free on the internet, and there are a lot of good TOEFL information and advice and guidance, possibly too much, I think, on the internet for us to make sense of it all. But speaking practice with a native speaker, well, that's pretty hard to find sometimes. So I think Verbling is a great place. And of course, this class is a great place for you to have a little TOEFL speaking practice. So, Ahmad, I'm really glad you're here. So, excellent stuff.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Gianfranco, good to see you today.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm trying to cut back on some of that sound. I'll tell you one more chance. I think I need. Yeah, if you put those headphones on, we're going to cut down on some of that background noise. Thank you. Well, I look forward to practicing with you again today, Gianfranco. Very nice to see you. Maria, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad to join your class as usual.
Very good. How are things in Sweden, right?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, still winter, but today
I bet.
we have a blue sky with some clouds.
Very nice.
So
blue. I gotta tell you, blue. I'm always grateful for blue sky because I come from Scotland, and you don't get many blue skies in Scotland. But when you do, it's a beautiful country. But it doesn't happen very often. Here in Tennessee, today for some reason it's pouring rain, so very grey. But I'm a little bit obsessed, I guess, with blue skies now that I've found them. But good to speak to you again, Maria, and we'll make sure you get some good practice here. Let me take a note there. Okay. Now then, Omar. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I went too far there. Miriam, how are you? Oh, no, lost her. Okay. Omar Hababa, how are you today?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Omar, where are you, Omar?
I'm from Turkey.
Ah, from Turkey. Very nice, very nice.
In the southern of Turkey, a city which is called Gaziantep. It's not as famous as Istanbul.
Sure. Is it close? Is it close to Istanbul?
No, it's in the southern of Turkey.
I see it on my map. I've got this big.
Oh, you have a map?
So yeah, gotta have a map when we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, I see you. I see you. It looks very nice. It looks very nice on my map.
That's nice. Today, usually there is rain here, but today it's nice weather. You can see a sun around there, so it's pretty sunny.
Everybody has better weather than me today. I'm quite jealous. But I've got to say, very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining the class. I'm going to make sure you get some good practice today. All right.
All right.
And Servet, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you very much. And you?
I'm pretty good. It's so good to see everyone here in class today. Now, Servet, tell me, are you planning on taking the TOEFL exam?
In short term, it's not. I think in short term, no. But in long term, I may try it because of the conditions now. Conditions are not very convenient now.
Okay.
If I can,
right.
I will take this exam.
And is that because you want to study in North America, or do you want to study abroad?
Yes, because of studying. Yes.
Okay, yeah, and what subject do you study?
I may study psychology. I'm interested in psychology.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, very good. Very good luck to you with that. And one more note. There we go. Servet. All right. Okay. Well, let's get moving. Thanks for. It's really good to say hello to you all this morning, and I'm going to make sure we get some good practice. In previous classes, we sorry, one second. There we go. Okay. In previous classes, we talked about the kinds of questions we can get in the first two questions of the speaking section of the Toefl exam. Very quickly, who can remind me what kind of questions we get in well, for question one, what kind of things did they ask about?
Maybe you should read, and we will read the passage about something off topic.
Well, but for question one, Ahmad, of the speaking section, I mean, these are very short questions. Do you know what kind of things?
Oh, express my idea about something.
There you okay? Exactly right. Sorry, I missed that first part. And you're right. And then in the later part, it's more significant or more complex. And they talk about these integrated questions, absolutely, where maybe there's some reading, there's some listening, but those first two questions, they're much simpler because you've got the well, you read the question and you'll hear the question. The IBT computer will read out that question to you, and they'll ask about some pretty ordinary things, and the objective really is just to give a direct, detailed, clear, and fluent. Well, it could be easier than that. That kind of answer to that question one. With question two, it's still about you, and it's still just one question. There's no listening. There's no mini lecture. There's no big reading passage. Anything like that. Still just a question for question two, but there is a difference. What is the difference between question one and question two?
In question two, you have to decide between two options. And explain the reasons.
Gianfranco, thank you. That's absolutely correct. And tell me, because they give you a choice, and that choice, again, I always use the same example. It could be, do you like to eat out at a restaurant, or do you prefer to eat at home? When we think about a question like that, is there a correct answer?
No, there's no correct answer.
All right. Okay. So, yeah. Omar, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. We're getting a lot of correct answers this morning. You're correct that the examiner, I mean, when they listen to the recording, and you'll probably have two people assessing your performance in the spoken section after it's been recorded, and you know, you go home and then they take a look at these things. Two people, and they're not looking at, you know, sort of which path you took in with the you know restaurant or eating at home. They don't care that much. They're not interested in that. What they want is to know, well, can they understand which answer you're giving, and also why. They want you to back up that answer. So that's true for TOEFL, and it's also true for your answers in a North American, especially a North American university, where they expect students to give strong, confident opinions. And of course, that opinion really could be anything, as long as you're able to back it up with evidence. And normally, if it's with psychology or archaeology or economics, you would be citing references, and you would be talking about what's happening in the news, or what other scientists or social scientists are saying. With questions 1 and 2 in the TOEFL exam, the only person you're citing and referring to is your own personal life experience. So it's like a mini version of a question they might ask in a university or college situation. But that's enough of that. Let's do some useful practice. Okay, we're going to start with question 1. And oh yeah, so how long do we get to? I mean, we're going to see the question. We're going to hear the question. How much time do we have to prepare our answer?
1 minute.
15 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job. 15 seconds. Okay. You get much more time in the IELTS, but it's a much bigger question in the IELTS exam. So with TOEFL, yes, that is that one question. And when we're talking about questions 1 and 2 of the speaking section, it's a little different for the rest of the speaking section. So for questions 1 or question 2, 15 seconds preparation time, and how much speaking time do you get?
45
seconds. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Thanks to both of you for that. Yes, speaking time. So there we go. We just have that on the chat board there. 15 seconds preparation, 45 seconds speaking time. So when we're going through these practice questions, I'm going to be very strict with that. And when of course I encourage you absolutely to go away and spend some good time. You know, the questions that I have that I'm going to use today, they're not top secret. You could find them anyway. That's finding the questions that they might typically ask in this part of the exam. That's not hard at all. You can just do a web search and find plenty of those, and you don't have to pay for them. You can find those for free. But just to have the questions on a few sheets of paper, it doesn't do you any good until you practice them, and until you practice speaking your answers out loud, and until you practice giving yourself and being strict with your 15 seconds preparation time and your 45 seconds speaking time. It's so important to be as realistic as you can when you're preparing for this exam, because it's really important for you to know, okay, this is what 15 seconds feels like when I'm preparing my answer. Oh, this is how much time that's how it feels to have 45 seconds to give an answer to this type of question. I mean, 45 seconds, I mean, how much can you say in 45 seconds? How many sentences is that, do you think?
7.
They say it's about 7. Might be 6, might be 7, might be 8, but around that. So if you think about it, if we say enough time for 7 sentences, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of information. And of course, if the first sentence is really the answer, maybe the second sentence is some background around that answer, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 we have example, detail, and then perhaps a concluding sentence such as and that's the reason for my answer, or that's why I love eating that's why I prefer eating in restaurants. You don't need to give a lot of information. It's much more important to give a clear, easy to understand, well-structured answer with interesting information, absolutely. But 45 seconds, not a lot of time, and that's good news as long as you're able to keep it coherent and well-structured. Because of course, if they gave you 5 minutes, well, that's impossible for anyone. Because the more time you have, the easier it is to sort of go off topic. The easier it is to make mistakes as well. So I think 45 seconds, even though it sounds like a penalty or like a difficulty, not at all. And the type of questions they ask, the more you practice, the more you'll see. Yeah, this is a 45-second question, because you don't need to get into a huge amount of detail with that one. All right, let me see.
What about, do they care about the pronunciation or the accent?
Well, that's a really good question, Omar. They care about the pronunciation. Of course they do, because the pronunciation. Can't say it myself. The pronunciation needs to be clear, and we know if a TOEFL, just like in IELTS, if a TOEFL examiner or a TOEFL assessor is having to work really hard, is finding it difficult to understand what the candidate is saying, this is a problem. This is a penalty for the students' TOEFL speaking score, right? It needs to be easy for them to understand, and we help them understand partly with clear pronunciation as well as good word choice and a logical structure. What about accent? Does accent matter, do you think?
I don't know.
Well, and I'll ask everybody, do you think is accent a problem in the TOEFL speaking section?
No, I don't think so.
Yes,
not
I
a
think.
problem.
I think I got a pretty good vote. Something very loud in a second. Thank you, Clemson. Goodness me, I'm not sure what that was. Yeah, sorry, Clemson, if you can make an adjustment to your settings, I thought an airplane was going overhead there. Yes, yes, of course, the accent. I think I got a good consensus of replies there that says, well, no, the accent itself is not a problem, and here's why. Is because, of course, everyone has an accent. The people listening to your spoken section to give you a score, they'll have an accent. Everyone in the world has an accent. The only time an accent is a problem is when it leads to a pronunciation difference, when it leads to a speaking difficulty. For example, if in your first language there's a sound that just doesn't exist and you're not used to using it, but it's something that's essential in English for understanding or comprehension. So if there's something that makes, in the accent that you haven't adjusted or haven't learned a phonetic or part of speech to make yourself easily understood in English, well, that's something you'll have to work on. Absolutely, that'll be very important because
teacher.
Yeah.
And when you say something grammatically wrong, but then you fix it, how will be it scored?
Well, of course, it's and that's a good question. We know that of course it's better to not make the mistake, right? We'd all like to be perfect. Truth is, in the speaking section, no one is perfect. If a native English speaker, perfectly prepared, took the TOEFL speaking section, he or she would still make mistakes because it's what we do. We're going to and a little bit, maybe we stutter. And then, of course, even in your native language, it's possible to think, oh, I've forgotten the word, and then you have to find another way to describe something. If you make a grammatical mistake and then think, oh no, that was wrong, if you go on to correct it, well, that's a much better situation than ignoring it, okay? Because if you catch it, quickly and think, oh no, sorry, did not, okay, whatever it is, if you catch it and correct it, then that's going to help your score because it shows, okay, well, everyone makes mistakes. The candidate made a mistake, but they caught it and they went on to correct it. They recognized it and made that correction. So that's not, if that happens, not really much of a problem. And I think it shows, and I think TOEFL examiners see that as a communicative skill because everyone makes mistakes. But if you can pick it up and say, oh no, hang on, sorry, what I meant to say was, or oh no, that was wrong. That the right thing is. Then it shows that you're able to recognize those things, make a smooth correction, and then carry on. It's a much worse situation if we make a series of grammatical mistakes and don't correct those because that tells the examiner, oh, well, they're not aware that these are mistakes. That's a bigger deal, especially if those grammatical mistakes interfere with the coherence or the fluency. And of course, if they are big mistakes, if they're big mistakes with tenses or word structure or sentence structure, that can often result in a very confusing answer for someone to assess. And if it's confusing, that's when that score is in trouble. Well, it's a good example of when the score is in trouble. But yeah, if you spot a mistake and correct it yourself, then go on. That shouldn't be too big a problem for you. In fact, often I know, and in IELTS as well, they'll see that as a good thing. Absolutely. But a very good question. Thank you for that one. All right. So yeah, 45 seconds for your answer. Okay, now let's practice some of these. Let's do some of these part ones. And I'm going to give each question to a particular student and assign that to someone here in our class today. But I want, please, everybody, take those 15 seconds and think how you would prepare that answer and how you might speak and answer that question. And of course, you can compare what you're thinking about to what the student gives us, and then we can talk about it. And then I'll give another student another practice, and that's what we'll get through. We've got lots of good time here. We'll get through as many as we can, and lots of things I'm sure will come up with vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, talking speed, cohesion. The way we structure our answer. Lots of good things like that. But it's so helpful to do that when we're really practicing as well. And so yeah, let me just find my list of questions. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna work with question 1 questions first of all. And here we go. I'm gonna pick one of these. And each of these questions, it's gonna have the question and then a little bit of instruction about sort of how to answer it. But this is not the question I'm going to give you. I'm just showing you this as an example. I'm going to put it in the chat box there. So for example, and we did this last time, we won't do it again. We're going to do some new ones. There's a question, what is your favorite book or movie? And then here's the instructions. Describe it and say why it is your favorite. A lot of candidates would think, well, of course, I describe it and say it's why it's my favorite. So those instructions, sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes it's helpful for other students or nervous students to be reminded this is the kind of structure that we're looking for, okay, with a question. So that's our example. We're actually going to do a different question. And Clemson, are you still with us? Would you like to answer a question for us?
Yes, I can try.
Okay, very good. Let me find one. Okay, so Clemson, again, I'm going to copy my question into the chat box. I'll give you 15 seconds, and then you'll have 45 seconds to give me your answer. And again, everybody, if you want to plan out your answer, I think that's really good practice as well. But this one is for Clemson first of all. Okay, Clemson. So your question is, who do you feel close to in your family or extended family? Describe this person and say why you feel close to him or her. You have 15 seconds to prepare. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Clemson, please begin your answer now.
Okay, I'm close with my mother because always that I hurt myself, he's close. When I need money, he gives me the money that I need to buy my things. And actually, she do everything for me. Without her, I won't be born. She is everything to me.
Okay, thanks, Clemson. Now tell me, first of all, what do you think of a question like that? Is that a simple question or a difficult question for you?
It is a simple question, but when we are going to give the answer, we forget the words.
Absolutely. Well, that can happen. That can happen, and of course, the more we practice this in a realistic way, I think it really helps confidence, because with practice, and I mean with correct practice, so using the right timing, recording ourselves, using the questions we can find on the internet, thinking about the structure, so correct practice will help confidence. Yeah, it's important to do these things the right way, just like the way we're doing it in class today. Now tell me, so the question was, remind myself, oh yes, describe someone. Ah yes, describe someone you feel close to. Describe the person and say why you feel close to him or her. Did you answer that question? Was it a full answer?
Thinking okay. Now, I think that I didn't give the right answer.
All right, but let's see, because you talked about your mother. That was clear that it was about your mother, and you gave me two reasons why you felt close to her, right?
Yes.
And I got those, and those were clear. So what was missing from your answer, do you think?
Describe her.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
There you go. And so that's an important part, yeah, of that answer, to give a description, and really, because if we think about it in a realistic, like a conversational way, this is something you might do in a conversation. Of course, with your mother, it doesn't mean, oh well, she's 5'4" and all those things, but you might talk about her age, or you might talk about the things, maybe what kind of person she is, the things she likes to do. There are all kinds of ways to describe. And and there are some people, to give an example, if it was about a girlfriend or a wife or a best friend, perhaps you would give a physical description. But when we say describe someone, I think you have a lot of options about the way you want to do that. But yes, very important at the beginning of your answer. I mean, the first thing you did was say who it was. I mean, that's essential. First thing you've got to do. And then you gave 2 reasons and explained why. And those reasons were okay. I think if there's more details you can give about that, the better. But I agree that the thing, if you got this in the exam, or you take a second chance to practice it, absolutely have a think about, how do I describe my mother, and for everybody, this is a good exercise to think about all family members, friends, the people we work with, or the people we study with. How do we describe that? And it works it's good practice for people. It's also good practice for objects and things around us. It's like, well, what color is it? What is it made of? What do we use it for? If it's an object, and if it's a person, we can describe them, and also describe our relationship. And that question is a very direct sort of, tell me about this relationship between you and someone you feel close to. So I thought there were Clepson, I thought there were some really good things in your answer, and also some things you would want to include if you had it a second time. So thank you for being the first one today. I appreciate that. Imad, would you like to practice with us?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, Imad, this one is for you, and I'm going to bring up the next question. So again, same drill, 15 seconds preparation, and I'll tell you, in the exam, you will hear the question, and you'll see the question on your screen, your internet screen in the classroom as well. So I'm going to read it out as well, just to make it that bit more realistic. Here we go. Okay, let me put this in the chat for us here. Okay, Imad, your question is, where is a good place to have fun in your city or town? Describe this place and explain why it's fun. I'm going to give you 15 seconds preparation time. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Imad, please begin your answer now.
Yeah, in my opinion, the national park is the best place to spend your time with, to have fun with. In there, I can take my family with me. There's a small space for the children, I can take a walk in the green place, very wide place, and it's very good climate. I can meet a lot of people. Sometimes I get some chances to get to know someone there. It's a very nice place, and it's very quiet, away from the community that we used to be every day. So I prefer to be in the national park if I want to have fun with my family.
Thank you, Matt. I cut you off because the computer will cut you off as well. So I promise I don't mean to be rude. But when the 45 seconds are done, I'll stop you just so you know how it feels. All right. Well, you gave me lots of good things there. What do you think about the question? Is that, what do you think? Easy or difficult? Ahmad?
For me, I think it's easy, but I was a little bit confused because I was preparing myself to speak kind of with high quality or without any kind of mistake. This is the main problem, that I was trying to correct myself and to evaluate my speech. If this is the problem with me, I'm not speaking fluently because of this.
Okay. So you were feeling very yeah. Okay, and that's again I think that can be a common. It can be a problem for a lot of students that we're feeling that we feel very sort of self-conscious of our speaking. And as you say, that we want to be perfect, and we want to make sure that everything is correct as it goes through. But we know that can lead to some hesitation, and it can also lead to a sense of repetition if we're having to sort of say the same things to want to get it to want to say it in the best possible way. So there's a balance there, isn't there, between speaking correctly and speaking fluently. And
Yeah.
we know, I mean, the Toefl speaking, it's not about being perfect. Hey, it's about being very good in all those areas, in fluency and grammar, vocabulary. That they want often a very high standard, and some of the scores they're looking for, if we need a 26 in the speaking, it's a very high score. And for questions 1 and 2, we really want to be getting, I would say, top marks in the first 2 questions, because the other questions can be even more challenging. So it's the Toefl exam, and there can be a lot of pressure, and that's why we need to practice, and that's why we need to prepare in a correct way. So that gives us a better chance of getting the high score. Often that we'll need. I mean, a lot of students, of course, will not need such a high score in the Toefl, but I can think of plenty of examples where you do, when you really want to give yourself the best chance to be hitting that top score in these first 2 questions, to build that confidence for the rest of the speaking section. But Ahmad, let me see. You talked about the park. You gave several reasons why it was a good place. You talked about a place for the kids. You talked about that sense of quiet, away from the I think you said away from the community.
Yeah, this is my wrong. I think I make mistake with this word. I should say away from our day-to-day people, or some kind of that.
Yeah, I can think of a nice phrase. When we think about living in a city or a town, things can be busy, and things can be very intense, and we can sometimes we're looking, as you say, looking for a park where it is quiet, and we can talk if it is quiet and if it's peaceful. Of course, if it's tranquil is another good word to describe this. We can also, and this is I think one of my favorite English phrases. We can talk about being in a place away from the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, I know it.
All right, very good. I think it's the first time I've written it down. Hustle and bustle. There we go. And I think that sounds to me what you were looking for, that kind of phrase, as you say. But you gave a lot of good details about the kind of place this park is, who you'd be there with, the things you can do, and of course, very importantly, why you like it. And you went into a lot of detail there, which was really good. Important, of course, and I would say this for anyone, is to keep track of that speaking time. And for now, I suggest if there's a wee clock on your computer, that's one way to do it as we practice here, because anything after 45 seconds, it's gone. And of course, if they hear it and they hear that you're cut off, well, they're going to know that there were other things you wanted to say. And I think you did answer the question, and so you could have afforded to stop before that time ran out. But I know how it is. You want to keep going because, as you say, you want to be correct, and you want to answer everything possible. I understand that pressure, and that's why it's so good to practice with that time restraint. But Ahmad, I tell you, I thought that was a really good effort. Thank you for that. Nice one.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to call on Gianfranco. Are you happy, Gianfranco, to do the next practice with us?
Yes.
Very good. Well, I'm going to bring up the question for you then. Here we go. Oops. That was not the right area. There we go. Okay, this is going to be the last question 1 we're going to do, and then we're going to move on to question 2 and have a look at those. But here's one more question 1. Yeah, I think I'm going to give you a difficult one. Why not? There we go. Right, I'm going to put this in the chat box. Same drill, 15 seconds preparation time, 45 seconds planning, beg your pardon, 45 seconds speaking time, and I'll encourage everybody here to practice along with Gianfranco, and of course I'll be practicing myself to see if I can think of something in 15 seconds. Here we go. Here's the question, and I'll read it out, and you can read it again as well. Gianfranco, please talk about an experience in your life that made you feel embarrassed. Describe it and say why it was embarrassing. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Gianfranco, please begin speaking now.
An experience that I lived during my high school that made me feel so embarrassed was when I had to say a poem in the front of an audience, and I completely forgot that poem. So the whole audience was laughing of me, and I felt horrible when I finished. Well, I finished earlier when it was supposed to be, but I don't really mind if I did it wrong, because I make my best effort doing that, but that will be my most embarrassing experience.
Okay, thank you, Gianfranco. Very nice. Within our 45 seconds, I said that was a difficult question. What do you think? I mean, when you saw that question, is it a difficult one, or is that quite easy for you?
It's not easy, but also not so difficult to answer, because everyone has embarrassing experience.
That's true, and I hope, of course, these questions are planned so that everyone should have something that they can say.
But try to remember it is difficult.
Exactly right, and of course we have to do it in English as well. So of course there were challenges, but the actual question most of the time, thinking of what the answer is, that should not be the most challenging part. Okay, and so the question was about medium. What did you give a full answer?
Probably I had to deliver more detail on the answer, or maybe it sounds grammatically awkward.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, it's we can always be more fluent, and we can always use perfect grammar. I know I don't use perfect grammar in this class, so I'm not going to ask anyone to do that, because we all make mistakes in live conversation. It's inevitable, and inevitable for every English speaker on the planet Earth. But let me see what I heard from you. I practiced my listening skills as well. You gave the time frame. You talked about, okay, this is in high school. That was really important to do that, because you have to say when this happened. You talked about saying a poem. Is there something else we can use instead of saying?
I don't know the right word, so
okay.
What's the first verb that?
Has anybody? Oh no, and saying is fine. Saying, we understand what saying is, but another way, a more appropriate way, is to recite. So, oops. There we go. Recite. So I put that in the chat box, and this is either something you've learned by memory, or it's something you're reading from a page. But it's often a performance. So you would recite a poem, or maybe a speech or a monologue from a play. So they absolutely talk about, so it would be very natural for you to say, oh, I was in high school and then I had to recite this poem. And of course, then you go on to say, oh, well, I forgot the words. And you explain the embarrassment part of this by saying, well, of course, it's embarrassing not to be able to do the job properly, and also people were laughing at you. You talked, you know, you gave me a couple of sentences about, but it wasn't too bad because, well, because you know you felt like you'd done your best, and
I forgot the poem.
Yeah, but you'd forgotten the poem, but you did talk about, okay, but you know, if I felt like I'd done my best, and then I'd made an effort. I don't know that is. I'm not sure that is so relevant, because we look at the question, you know, describe the experience and say why it was embarrassing. So instead, I mean, I like the happy ending to the story, but I would want you, if you had this a second time, I would want and expect you to concentrate on why it's embarrassing. And you gave a couple of reasons. One is I forgot the words, and B is people were laughing at you. I think there's more about the details, more details you can give to that part, and don't worry about you know, and any additional points about, well, maybe you felt better afterwards, or you know, you can say, well, now, well, of course it's not a big deal now, all those years later. It's just one of those things. Much better to concentrate on the moment of that story, on, you know, how did it feel right then? Because again, these questions are great, I think, because only you can give that answer. It's easy for any adult to say, well, of course, you know, it doesn't really matter now. It was just one of those things that happens to kids, right? But it's important for you to, you know, think, okay, well, how did I feel then? You know, how did it feel to make a mistake when we were teenagers, right? It feels 100 times worse than it does as an adult. So important to concentrate on the why it was embarrassing details. You gave me some of that, but I would be looking for some more in a second version of this.
Okay.
Sentence. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, but really good. I liked it a lot. Just one little correction. You talked about them laughing. I think you said laughing of you, maybe. And we would say laughing at. Just one of those preposition moments, and that's just about the grammar. It's a little thing, okay? Laughing of you, they'll understand. So not an essential, not a really big deal. But I wanted to mention it because I'd taken a note. That's all. But thank you very much, Jean-Francois. I appreciate you practicing with us. That was a good answer. Nice one. And a really good story as well. I like that a lot. Well, let's move on and let's do some question twos. So,
my turn?
Who's that?
Omar.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go next. Let's put Omar, and then I think we will have Maria after that. Okay, Omar, Maria, and Servet. I think that would be third. So we're gonna go for 3 more, and that's our list. Omar, Maria, Servet. 1, 2, 3. These are all going to be question 2 questions, and we know that this kind of question, they will be asking you to choose between 2 things. So in that answer, it's essential for you to give, okay, well, I want this, I would prefer this one, or I prefer that one, for the following reasons. And you can give 2 reasons with the details, 3 reasons with details, and if you have time, if you have 5 seconds at the end, you can tie that up and say, and that's why I prefer going for a walk in the mountains, or that's why I prefer the big city, that's why I prefer eating out in restaurants, things like that. But so important for you to make it very clear, make your preference very clear. They don't care which choice you make, but they absolutely care that you give a clear direction about your preference, and also that that your details and your explanation again are clear and strong. You know, that it makes sense, and also, of course, that it's relatively easy for them to understand what you're saying. The clearer you make this answer, the better, and then the stronger your answer is going to be. They're looking for some, you know, very strong, confident, communicative English. And sometimes these questions feel easy, sometimes they feel hard. I know that. But of course, the more practice we get, the more correct practice that we do, and we can do this in class, we can do this by ourselves as well. We can record ourselves That's a great thing to do, but also make sure if you're doing this by yourself or with a friend, time it. Time that preparation time, time that answer time. Because hey, if you had 20 minutes to answer one of these questions or to prepare, you will do a fantastic job. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. You've got to have that 15-second period. So let me practice. Ah, yes. Okay, Omar, you're first. I'm going to find a good question for you. Let me have a look. Okay, right. Let's do this one for number 1. So this is for Omar, but again, I'm encouraging everybody to take those 15 seconds to plan out your answer, and then listen carefully to Omar's and think, well, oh, that's, are there good things I can take from that? Are there things I would do differently? All good practice when we do this together. Here's the question for Omar. Okay. Some people prefer to live in a small town. Others prefer to live in a big city. Which place would you prefer to live in? Omar, I'm giving you 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Omar, please begin your answer now.
In my point of view, I prefer to live in a small town. There are several points of view that I'd like to discuss with you. First, living in a small town makes your life much easier when it is related for the transformation and to move from one place to another. And the other point of view is that in the small town there is more social interaction among the people. For those 2 reasons, I prefer to live in a small town.
Okay, Omar, thanks very much. Let's see, for those 2 reasons. All right, there was some good stuff in there, and I think there's some stuff you want to work on. But an interesting answer. I liked your answer actually, Omar. Again, I mean that's a very classic question too. It's something a lot of us will practice because it's something that comes up. Big city, small town. Which one do you prefer? Omar, did you?
What do I have to work on? What do I have to work on?
But I've got good things to tell you as well. But Omar, tell me first of all, Omar, did you give a full answer? Did you answer the question?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess so too. I think so. The very first thing you did very clearly was to say, oh well, I prefer to live in a small town. That is surely the best way to begin an answer, right? You gave a couple of reasons why. I really like the second one. You talked about the social interaction in a small town, and you use social interaction, which is a great phrase to use in that context. You also talked about it being easier to get around. I think you used a word like transferation, something like that. I would suggest we could use something like it's easier to get around, or we can be more mobile in a small town. So maybe greater mobility is maybe a more natural way to put that. And also an excellent thing at the end, you just rounded it up. You said, well, and for those 2 reasons, I would prefer ... to live in a small town. That was a great way to end the answer. And I think that it was the first reason. That was what I would recommend that you think again about, not because it's a bad reason, but because the language, it wasn't quite clear to me. I mean, I was sort of guessing that we were talking about, okay, it's easier to get around, but the vocabulary, it wasn't quite there. So if you want to practice that again, independently, I would have a think about, well, okay, well, how do I describe that? How do I describe the advantage, that first advantage that you gave? But apart from that, I mean, and I really liked your second reason, and good structure to the answer, and a very strong beginning and a very clear ending as well. Very clear when you ended that, and that's really helpful as well because you finished on time. So lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Thanks, Omar, for that practice. Maria, you are next. Are you ready for a question too?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to put that on the board for us. 1 second. Here we go. That's an interesting question. Here we go. I'm going to paste it in the box, and again, 15 seconds preparation, 45 seconds speaking. Okay. And if everyone can practice, that would be great. Maria, please, this one is for you. Would you prefer to do an important college assignment as part of a team with other students or individually on your own? I'm going to give you 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Maria, please begin your answer now.
Yes. I've done my college assignments individually so far, but I think it's good because I prefer to work independently from others, along with the teacher, of course, or tutor. But I think there are some advantages of working together with others. When you collaborate with other people, you get a lot of input from other people, and you can share your thoughts and perhaps get a little further with your task or your investigation or whatever you are conducting.
Okay, Maria, thank you. I'm being terribly rude and British because I will cut off at the 45 seconds.
I'm glad you interrupted me because I ran out of words.
Well, I think that the best, one of the great things about your answer was the vocabulary that you were using. I thought very clear, great pronunciation. Talking speed was pretty fast, but I could still understand very easily what you were saying. So you have an opportunity here to slow down a little bit, and of course that means you don't have to say as much in your 45 seconds. What do you think of your answer? Are you happy with the answer? Was it a full answer to the question?
No, it was not exhaustive answer because I did not elaborate on the advantages of working alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think I could have made some more comparisons. How do you say that? Comparisons.
Comparisons, absolutely. I mean, for the pronunciation, the comparison is right. Yes. I would. Well, I think what I would want from you, if you tried this a second time, and really for any question, is for you to be much more direct on your choice. And so right from the outset, saying, well, I prefer to work alone, or I prefer to work as a team. You were giving me a very balanced answer, and there are circumstances where that is appropriate. But for question 2, they just want your choice, and for you to back up that choice. So you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about being fair here. All you have to do is to provide evidence to support your answer. Of course, in the real classroom, there's going to be someone else who's going to say, oh, well, being part of a team is much better for the following reasons. So you would be part of the debate here. You don't have to report on the whole thing. So
I don't have to talk about working as a team when answering this question?
Only if you want to say, oh, well, a reason I prefer to work alone is because here's an advantage to working as a team.
Okay.
So and then you can choose to do it that way as you like. So I think, hey, the language, word choice, fluency, pronunciation, all really good. I would encourage you to practice really on the structure of your answer, and for question 2 to just really be concentrating on backing up the decision you're making, and don't worry about the other side of the argument. But a very interesting. You gave me lots of good detail, and I like that. Thank you, Maria. We're gonna squeeze one more in because I promised. Servet, are you ready to practice? Excellent. I thought so. I knew you'd be ready for me. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, something a little bit different, but it's still question 2. I'm going to put this on the board here. And again, 45 seconds preparation. Oh, I'm sorry, 15 seconds preparation. That was like, I got you like a bonus time there. 15 seconds, of course. I'm going to read it out, but I've typed it in there as well. Servet, would you prefer to run your own private business or to work for a large company with many employees? I'm going to give you 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Servet, please begin your answer now.
Well, I personally prefer running my own business because I can give a few reasons. One of the reasons when you are running your own business, of course, all the profit is yours.
Mm-hmm.
The second reason, I think, communicating and making your ideas, your thoughts, your goals true. You are completely free when you are running your own business. It gives you flexibility at all. Flexibility, complete flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And the last reason is I have no last reason. Because of this reason.
Yeah. Okay. No, exactly. Okay. Thanks. And that, yes, there's the computer cutting you off for that 45-second mark. All right. What do you think?
What do I think?
A lot
of things were missing, I think.
Oh, a lot of things. Well, a lot of things were in there as well. I'm going to tell you the good stuff. Very strong start. Very clear. It was very clear which one you were choosing. Just take care of that, and I mean this for everybody. Take care of that at the beginning of your answer, right? Don't waste time. Just say, okay, this is the one I'm choosing, and you gave me a very clear signpost because you said, well, this is I would prefer to work for myself or independently, and for these reasons. And then you gave me these reasons. And the first one, yes, very clear. You're talking about the profit. You got to keep that. The next reason, well, there was a bit of meandering there, but then you talked about the freedom to make your own decisions, which is a great reason, and it makes a lot of sense. I like that one a lot. And then I know you were struggling to come up with a third reason, and you decided just to sort of to stop it there. That's okay. Of course, better to give 3 bang 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 clear reasons and that would be a perfect answer. But I really liked. I liked the examples that you did give, and I liked that it was you made a very clear choice about where you were going, and the structure of your answer was clear. And that in Toefl is so important because they're looking to you to demonstrate that in an academic situation, you can very quickly plan out a verbal response in a coherent way, and then deliver it. So yes, I mean it will be helpful for you to practice this kind of speaking. But I was interested in your answer, which helps as well. And you gave me some good language, some good vocabulary, and it felt like a considered response. So yeah, so I like those things. Absolutely, of course, you need to tidy up that bit at the end. But still, a lot of good things there. So thank you, Servet. Thank you for that answer. Thank you for the last one. The last one. With that airplane. There we go. Airplane taking off again. I've run out of time. Thank you so much for your great participation today. I always enjoy listening to your answers, and I enjoy talking about, of course, I love the Toefl exam, and I love helping students prepare for it. We're going to do another one of these very soon. Please check my schedule and come back, and we'll continue to work on question 2 next time to make sure we can get even more practice with that one. But until then, thanks so much. Thanks for being a part of this class, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Okay, thanks, teacher. Even though we were run out of time.
I know, absolutely. I need to work on my timing, I think. Never mind yours. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay.